Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Simisola Adigun. Sequel to the recent planned move to apply the extant law on the age limit for secondary school qualifying examinations, concerned Nigerians have expressed disappointment and endorsement of the Nigerian government's ban on students under 18 years, which forbids their participation in the West African Senior School Certificate Examinations, the National Examinations Council, and the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examinations, UTME. The Minister of Education, Tahir Mamman, disclosed the planned move on behalf of the Nigerian government at a policy meeting organized by the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, JAMB, in Abuja, which had in attendance other stakeholders in the education sector. Mamman expressed concern that parents are pressuring their wards at ages 15 and 16 to gain admission into tertiary institutions, declaring that university admissions should not be given to candidates below 18 years of age, since Nigeria operates the 6334 education system. He also explained that once a child had not attained a particular age for schooling, such a child must not be allowed to skip. When asked if there will be any sanction for failure to obey the policy, the minister said there would be no sanction, but the child would simply not be admitted. According to him, this policy will also go a long way in checking the excesses of some parents who might want to enroll their underage children in various classes and other forms of sharp practices in the education sector. Well, let's get more reactions to this planned policy. I'm now joined by an investigative education journalist at EduGist, Folaranmi Ajayi. Thank you for coming on the program. Let me start by asking, how realistic is this planned policy by the Nigerian government to set the age for writing the secondary school certificate examinations and UTME at 18 years as part of efforts to curb sharp practices that promote exam malpractices? Is this a good policy?
So setting the record straight now. So first thing is that setting the minimum age for writing the West African School Certificate Examination at 18 years with the aim to reduce examination malpractice. The question is, however, its practicality is questionable given the current structure of the Nigerian education system, which typically sees students completing secondary school at the age of 15 to 17. Now, so enforcing this policy could delay the academic progression of so many students. And what it does, what it does not directly address is the root causes of these, let's say, the examination malpractice, which are caused by societal pressures, inadequate educational infrastructure. Now, the policy may also penalize academically capable students and create new challenges such as increased pressure, and then parents will start to falsify ages of these young ones. And that is where our fear comes from.
Well, some of the exam malpractices mentioned by the minister are parents pushing their children beyond their capacity to have them write these exams in special or miracle centers, as they are called, where money is paid in exchange for excellent grades. Now, the children don't even have to study at all. There are also instances of parents buying the results of other students, which is also damaging as well. Isn't this part of the pressure, or isn't this part of pressure from society?
Okay, many thanks for that question. So the thing is that the pressure from society for academic excellence is often measured by grades rather than the actual knowledge. It is a significant contributor to examination malpractices. Now, parents pushing their children into miracle centers, miracle centers is the name, and then we know it as special centers here. So it reflects what I call a broader societal issues where success is not equated with academic excellence, but rather it is equated with academic certificates. So the environment we find ourselves is one that fosters this kind of culture, and it is detrimental to the integrity of the educational system. However, Simply raising the age requirement does not address these deep-seated issues. I feel that a more holistic approach, including which should involve societal reorientation, stricter enforcement of law against examination malpractice. See, if you go to this special center, you discover that the teachers, the parents, even examination officials are stakeholders involved in this examination malpractice. And how do you cop something where when you have the major stakeholders participating in the process? Parents encourages their children, the teachers will encourage their children, even WAEC officials, NECO officials, and what have you, they will come to centers, they will demand whatever it is being called. And so every stakeholder that should not be part of this are already part of this thing. So if you don't have states stricter enforcement of laws against examination malpractice and improve school management systems, we cannot achieve this.
Well, let's look at this situation from another angle. We're in a country that places emphasis on age brackets as a criteria for getting jobs, which falls between the ages of 22 to 30. And let's not forget the years of experience the job seeker must have within that age bracket to be considered for the job, both within and even outside the country. And these are part of the issues here. So what are your thoughts? Do you think that staying that long before entering the university would, improve the system or even worsen it?
Okay, so tellingly, the emphasis on age and years of experience in Nigeria's job markets creates a paradox. Now, while raising the age for taking WAEC might seem like a safeguard against examination malpractice, it may serve as a disadvantage for the young, talented individuals who might meet the intellectual requirements at a very early or tender age. So these policies could force students to spend unnecessary additional years in school, making them older by the time they enter the job market, which often discriminate against older candidates. It is only in Nigeria you fresh graduates don't have opportunity of getting job because there are already age limits. There are years of experience that you must have before you can even get a job. So how do you think a fresh graduate will get a job when the least requirement is you must have 3 to 5 years experience before you get that job? So a more flexible approach is what people like us are advocating for. So allowing for exception based on academic performance, intellectual maturity, and could be more effective. So the issue is, now, if you want students to get admission at this particular age, what would they be doing while they are waiting or staying at home? What would they be doing?
Now, this age limit has ignited widespread anger across the country, especially with parents. And one question being asked is, how about students who are academically sound, who have the intellectual capacity to write the secondary school examinations, certificate exams, and UTME without supervision to get good grades? How are they expected to handle this imposed delay, if I can describe it as that, especially for those who complete secondary school at, say, age 15, 16, or 17 years old? I mean, wouldn't this affect them psychologically?
Okay, so for students who are academically advanced, imposing an age restriction could be psychological and intellectually stiffing. Now, these students may experience what we call frustration, boredom, and a lack of motivation. However, if they are forced to delay their academic progression, this delay could also impact their future career prospects, particularly in the field that require early specialization. So a more nuanced policy that allows exception for students, perhaps through a rigorous screening process, would have been a better approach.
Well, the plan to implement this policy is still a topic of debate among parents and education experts. Let's see how that goes. Investigative education journalist at EduGist, Folaranmi Ajayi, thank you very much for lending your thoughts. We'll go on a short break now. Stay with us. The program will continue shortly. Welcome back. We're still discussing the planned move by the Nigerian government to enforce an age limit of 18 years for students to write school leaving certificate examinations and UTME in Nigeria. Joining me to discuss further is Isaac Okiti, who is an educationist and human relations practitioner. Thank you for your time, sir. Now, as we speak, there are students in the 15, 16 and 17 years age bracket currently waiting to write these school leaving examinations and university qualifying examinations. How do you think they can navigate this current situation? And then wouldn't this planned policy promote age falsification that's claiming to be 18 years in order to write the exam?
You know, at the beginning of this interview, I told you that the policy has been there since 1977, but it was in the limbo. It was in the limbo. Nobody talked about it. And now they want to talk about it. They want to talk about it in a Gestapo manner, in a Gestapo commando manner, which will not blow any good breeze, any good wind on anybody, not even on the government themselves. Why? Because, like I said, there is supposed to be a transition period. Because for now, we are used to people going to university, even JAMB. Let's go back a little bit. JAMB has a statutory age requirement of 16 years for admission into higher institutions. Let's just take that bracket. I mean, that age bracket is 16 years. But I tell you, some first generation universities, or Obafemi University, University of Lagos, University of Ibadan, UI, will even expect a candidate seeking admission into the institutions to have been 16 years by September, end of September or October of the year of admission. You see, government has tagged along with this all the while. 15 years completely out of it, because no university has 15 years. Except maybe these private universities are springing up now looking for candidates at all costs. But even globally, 15 years, except in very rare cases, 15 years are not even found anywhere in the university system, except in very, very rare cases. So take our benchmark from 16 and above. Yes, it's going to have a backlash. And we are trying to fight corruption in all facets of it. Falsification of age is part of corruption. And don't be surprised, their parents might be pressurized to start doing this. And when the children get to know their parents are going to falsify age for them, they will see it as a normal thing. And then who pays for it? The society will pay for it, because children, the minds of children are very pliable. They are very pliable. What they see adults doing, they would like to emulate. So that's another aspect of this rush, the wrong rush into policy implementation of 18 years and above. Bottom line, there should have been a gestation period, like I said a while ago, a transition period. Because that's okay, we're 2024 now. As from 2026, as from 2027, as from 2028, all children going to write WASSCE shall be required to attain the age of 18 years. Now, look at it. Between now and then, we're looking at 4 years or 5 years. 2024 to 2028, 4 years, or 2029, 4 years. It's a long-term planning, schedule. A long-term schedule to be planned, so that people will adjust. Those who are in the system now must have faced the way. Those who are coming in now will know that, okay, we are going to face our exams at the age of 18. Look at that. Look at the calculation I did now. From now to 2028, 2029, a generation of students must have passed out of their school system, either primary, secondary, and they to start preparing for the university, higher institution strata, stratum of the educational sector. So that transition period is important, because these things are looking at it as cut and nail. Sydney is not cut and nail. It's going to have a very huge backlash, psychologically, socially, economically, even culturally, on the Nigerian society. Yes, because corruption is a terrible elements confronting Nigeria now, cutting across government, private, everywhere. And then, who are those going to be affected? The same Nigerian system.
Now, Nigeria currently runs a 934 education calendar from the previous 6334 calendar, which many say we are still practicing, following the introduction to the modified universal basic education. Now, if 18 years will become the year of maturity to write this secondary school leaving examinations and university qualifying exams, wouldn't it disrupt the current education system practice in the country?
Okay. There should be something known as a balancing act. Skill acquisition and intellectual development, talent development. We should not just focus solely on age. There are, like I said at the beginning of this interview, there are scholars that are precocious. They are very intelligent, intellectually sound. They are ahead of their mates in a classroom setting. And these children go out to excel. When you go to secondary school, practical, theory, everything, they excel. Now, if you're focusing on only age, it all means you're going to suppress talent development. You're going to suppress intellectual development. And Nigeria is not going to be better for it. So that's why I say it's going to be a balancing act for this particular policy drive to work and benefit Nigeria and Nigerians as expected. If you have a copy of the Nigerian National Policy Education, beautifully crafted, the contents, if the contents have been implemented to the letter from 1977 to date, the education sector will not be in crisis as it is today. But nobody implements it. Now, for me, honestly speaking, the practice is not, this policy is not progressive the way a man is being pursued. It will not cut off educational malpractice, exam malpractices. Then the question I want to ask you, Sydney, who are the people in charge of examinations? Government agencies. WAEC, government is part of WAEC, government is part of JAMB. Who are the people that leak papers? Who are the people that do all manner of syndication during examinations? Government officials. You cannot embark on a market or a business you know little or nothing about. There are areas they call the special centers, miracle centers. The question again is, why the miracle centers? Why the special centers? Who authorizes those miracle or special centers? Why should they exist in the first instance? If the conventional education centers are well taken care of, in terms of provision of facilities, now we have these CBT exams. All the infrastructure are made available for the students to use. If it's a capacity of 500, we can say, okay, 1,000 capacity in well-monitored centers, my brother. And then those who are going to conduct the exam are made with high integrity pedigree, high integrity profile. There will be nothing like exam malpractice. Just like we are saying the bandits are attacking Nigerians, government agencies, security agencies, and DSS, NIA, they know where the bandits are operating from. They know their kingpins. The question is, why haven't these agencies go ahead to apprehend these people? Now, government is talking about special centers of educational fraud. Why are they still operating such centers? So you cannot cut a tree and run inside the bush and ask who cut the tree. It is double standard.
And would you say Nigerians in general are too focused on the number of years spent in school rather than gaining expertise, the practical side of education? And then, is this policy progressive? Do you think it will truly help address sharp practices in the education sector?
Yeah. You see, there appears to be what we call policy somersault by the education policy formulator handlers in Nigeria. The 6334 system was well enunciated in the NPE, National Policy Education, first put in place in 1977, and the review has continued, like I enumerated in the course of the interview. It's just because nobody gives education the place of priority it deserves in the national life. Now we are going to go back to the original 6334. The question is, how in the first instance did the 9 blah blah whatever come on board when we had a subsisting educational system 6334, well articulated, well enunciated in the educational policy? That's why I said, by and large, for us to get it right, Sydney, there must be an incubation period for us to adjust ourselves so that the pains will not be so much on the people who think we are trying to protect, the scholars. If you're in the street, we handle children, we run schools, we conduct research and interviews, we organize curricular activities, picnics, debates, sports. We interact with young people every day. You need to hear them express their dismay, their total anger about this sudden rush to implement a policy that has been in the cooler for years. All of a sudden, it has been excavated for immediate implementation. Who does that? So, the last question, the question you were asking before this was trying to, I really emphasis on age or educational advancement. It can, to stay into your current question now, how are you going to manage the disruption in the 6334 and the 9 blah 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 number of things I'm talking about, which have been in practice all the while? Transition period. Transition period. For us to get it right, we should not rush into it. Although some of our colleagues, some of us, are trying to put up a paper, we're trying to make a representative of the Federal Ministry of Education to take a second look at this instantaneous policy drive. It's going to have any salutary effect, beautiful effect on Nigerian educational system. In the long run, it's going to be very hurtful because we're going to have a generation of students who will be so frustrated, so downcast, because these children have planned their life. You need to talk, like I said, we interact with children, scholars on a daily basis. They are our friends, we are their friends. A friend of mine who is a guidance counselor, I think 2 or 3 days ago, we were talking about it. He said in his school, children are already crying. So how are we going to cope? We thought by so time we're going to be, I've applied to university, I'm planning to write this exam to go to university. By the time I finish, and the children are, like I said, in the age, I asked him, the age of about 16, 17. 1 year means a lot in the life of a person. 1 year means a lot. So policy formulation, policy implementation must not be done in isolation. We are not dealing with grasses, we are not dealing with animals, we are dealing with human beings that have feelings and intellectual capacity. Who can reason? Who can say, this is bad or this is good for me? Who have feelings and who have emotions? So it's going to be a very long battle for the federal government and the people, between the federal government and the people.
Well, the minister argues that this move will go a long way in curtailing other vices of cultism, drug addiction, prostitution, and others, which many undergraduates are lured into due to unrestrained and vibrant tertiary school environment. That is still in debate. Well, thank you for speaking to us, Mr. Isaac Ogidi, who is an educationist and human relations practitioner. Really appreciate your time. Well, that's all we have on this episode of the program. We'll see you again next time. Bye for now.